Josie was awarded an OAM for services to community relations and the Jewish community. And she recently got a very special award from the New South Wales Jewish Board of Deputies. It was an inaugural award, a President's Award, acknowledging an individual who has made an outstanding contribution to the community. So well done on that as well, Josie. In 2012, she was made a life member of the Ethnic Communities Council for her lifelong work in anti-racism, anti-race vilification, and interfaith dialogue, as well as supporting multiculturalism and diversity. Josie does a great deal for the Jewish and the wider community. Josie's recent memoir, An Inevitable Path, a detailed account of her incredible life, giving the reader an idea of what leads a person down an inevitable path, was also recently launched at the museum. So it's a warm welcome to you, Josie. Please take this.
Thank you.
We met at the Great Synagogue when we had a big event as well with all your family. Yes. I remember. I couldn't leave that out. It's my honour to introduce Barbara. Although I would think that she doesn't need any introduction in this room. I imagine everybody knows her and loves her. She's the author of 7 books, a historian, a pastor, mediator, psychologist, sociologist, teacher, social justice advocate, and a sought-after speaker. Barbara lives in Cairns with her husband, Norman, Aboriginal artist and pastor, and I'm very proud that they're both my friends. I met Barbara and Norman about 20 years ago in Cairns. We had a meal together after meeting her at a WITSO meeting in Cairns. In 2004, she invited me to speak at a forum in Canberra on the Evian Conference of 1938. Across the Atlantic was the United States. Viewed in Europe, especially by the refugees, as a haven for the homeless and oppressed, as a place perfect for those seeking religious freedom. And surely it was felt that such a powerful president as Franklin Roosevelt knew about the spreading refugee crisis in Europe. He would act. He would raise quotas. He would open the door to America and encourage other nations to open theirs. However, he didn't wish to appear indifferent to the problem. He was under pressure to do something. But what? He decided to do what Washington politicians have often done in a pinch, as we all do in all our communities. He set up a committee. In this case, an international conference to study the problem and perhaps come up with a solution. He wanted to appear to be the leader of a global effort to help European Jews. For the United States to strike the right pose, to suggest an open door policy while realising at the same time that he would not fight to raise quotas for European Jews. The American door would remain closed. Let others open their doors, he hoped. The conference formally opened in mid-July 1938 in the French resort of Evian-le-Bain. Representatives from 32 nations, plus 39 private organisations, gathered for 8 days. Speeches, meetings, grand displays of goodwill. More than 200 journalists covered the event. It was a big deal. The US representative was not a well-known diplomat. He was a businessman, Myron Taylor, whose major credential was that he was one of the president's close friends. His speech, like many of the others, flowered with humanitarian appeals, no new ideas. He was very cautious, as if he were walking on eggs. Taylor went only so far as to assure his colleagues that the annual immigration quotas of 30,000 for Germany and Austria could include Jewish refugees. Great Britain agreed to accept a few thousand German Jews. Australia said it would accept 15,000 over 3 years. Reflecting the opinion of many delegations, the Australian representative, Colonel White, explained, "As we have no real racial problem, we're not desirous of importing one." The failure of Evian conference gave Hitler the green light. So, who wasn't here? Where were the Jews if they weren't here already? The Great Synagogue was consecrated in March 1878. Sir Isaac Isaacs, Chief Justice from 1930, I don't have to tell you someone the name of Isaac Isaacs was Jewish. He was Chief Justice from 1930, Governor General of Australia, 1931 to 1936. Sir John Monash, the hero in the First World War. And then there's Esther Abrams, convict on the First Fleet, married to Major George Johnson, Johnson Street, you know, near Leica. Her great-grandson, her 4 times great-grandson, I should say, was Admiral Sir David Martin, a governor of New South Wales. They were the people that weren't here before Evian. Kristallnacht, November 1938. The brutal attack on the Jews, including members of my German family, Dachau, Buchenwald. Kristallnacht, physical violence, property damage, synagogue desecration and destruction, holy books, Torah scrolls in flames. My family made the Australia quota, arriving in January of 1939. My parents, grandmother, brother and 4-year-old me. My mother tried to get visas for her uncles and family from Germany. My grandmother's youngest brother, his wife, their 18 and 20-year-old daughters, refused. Potterful. Uncle was murdered in Buchenwald, 18 and 20-year-old girls in Auschwitz. I want to thank you, Barbara, for telling us the story of William Cooper, the story that has given us great inspiration of the brave Yorta leader who understood what Black Jack McEwen and Colonel White didn't want to. Thank you, Norman, for telling us. Thank you, and Norman. Because you work together all the time, I know you do. And I'm sure that Barbara reads you everything that she's written, because everything I write, I read to Ian. He corrects my grammar. I was a refo, I mean, I don't speak English really. I was wanted. Telling us an amazing story. I want to tell you just one thing about one of the women that went over now to Auschwitz. Her name is Yvonne Engelman, and she's 92. Her son is my gastroenterologist, an outstanding professor. And I think, and when I was complaining about how tired I felt a bit old, he said, "You're not old, my mother's 92. So there she went now to Auschwitz, this 92-year-old, who was the only person left in her whole family and has started a new life here. from the 6 million that were slaughtered, how many would have been great help and great contribution to wherever it was that they were going to live. Barbara and Norma, my favourite blessing, which is the blessing of Aaron the high priest, the brother of Moses, which I must add is usually said by men. However, it doesn't bother me. It didn't say so. It's, may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Before I finish, I want to tell you, show you an article that I wrote in 1989, and I'm leaving it here. I have a couple of copies. This is the great inspiration that Hitler had. And this is what he wrote in Mein Kampf. To what an extent the whole existence of this people, the Jews, is based on a continuous lie is shown incomparably by the protocols of elders of Zion. For once this book has become the common property of the people, the Jewish menace may be considered as broken. That's from Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. I have a copy showing you the actual why it was fraudulently done. So I have a few copies. If someone, that one for your radio program? Yeah, I've got one for you, radio program. So I have a few copies. I thank you.